Hi, this is Up Nepa, and we are super delighted to be on your screen this morning. So this morning, we have the honor of having an exclusive interview with Dr. Maji Chado. Dr. Maji Chado is not just an experienced medical doctor, he's also an administrator. He is one-time Chief Medical Director of Niger State Hospital Management Board. He retired from services in the year 2008. And we have the honor of having him this morning. So, good morning, sir, and welcome to Up Nepa.
Good morning. You're
good morning,
welcome.
sir.
Good
Thank
morning.
you so much. Okay, sir. So there's been this debate on from the engineers on who should steer the the power sector, the Nigerian power sector. Should it be a seasoned engineer or should it be a seasoned administrator? Now, they said if the Minister of Health in Nigeria is a doctor and the Minister of Justice is a lawyer, why won't the Minister of Power be an engineer? So we want to know or hear from you, where do you stand in this, or what's your opinion on that debate?
Thank you very much. I am very glad to be part of this debate because this thing has been going on for a very long time. I want to take you a bit back to the history of the nation. You know, despite what we think about Nigeria, it is still a very young state. The country is only 60 years old. So most of the things that we expect to be happening cannot be happening yet. If you look at the first republic, none of them was a degree holder except one minister. I've forgotten which one it was. The Minister of Health at that time was a medical doctor, but at that time, doctors were trained at Yaba and Kano. And after that, they were sent overseas for some kind of experience, and they come back, but not in the conventional university, medical schools, or health institutions you know now that train doctors. So, if you take that time, not one single engineer in the country had the qualifications that we have today. Virtually every field of study is so deeply studied now and so deeply differentiated now that you have specialists and super specialists in every aspect. In Nigeria today, I think the only thing that is written in the law is that the Minister of Justice and Permanent Secretary of Justice must be lawyers.
Okay.
I want to take you to two ministries in government: Minister of Justice and Minister of Finance. If you look at justice, everybody is a lawyer.
Wow.
Every parastatal, every department in justice is headed by a lawyer. The only people that are not lawyers there are the administrators, and they're usually posted there from head of service.
Okay.
If you take a look at Ministry of Finance, except now that finance is being broken up into all sorts of specialties, everybody is an accountant. In fact, when I went to school, I went to the university in 1969, there was no specialty in the university called audit.
Okay.
So the accountant becomes auditor at one time, and in another posting, you go to another ministry and become accountant there. What I'm getting at is that the knowledge was so concentrated in few heads in those days that anybody can be called to head a place. And those who were heading us at that time were not even people who knew what was happening. Under normal circumstances, it would be very, very nice to say that those who are going to head organizations must be people who know what is happening in those organizations.
True.
Let me take health, because that's the part that I know best.
Okay.
In Ministry of Health, there are at least 4 or 5 specializations. You have the doctors, you have the pharmacists, you have the nurses and midwives, you have the laboratory scientists, and you have the diagnostic department. And if you like, you can add to that imaging. Those who take X-rays, do CT scan, and so on and so forth. Now, in this group of people, the only ones that have a little knowledge of almost every aspect is the medical doctor. And that's why medical doctors are clamoring that they are supposed to be the head of healthcare team. This is because, one, they own the patient that come, because the patient didn't come because of laboratory, they came because of the doctor who is going to see them. And two, they have a little knowledge about what everybody else there do. So it's not far-fetched to expect them to be the head boy of that area. In those days, 60s, 70s, the only engineers we knew very well, especially in the north here, are civil engineers.
Okay.
In fact, when ABU and Polytechnics, who were the two institutions that are training engineers in this place, were opened, it was civil department that was first opened. So everywhere you go, it's civil engineer, civil engineer, civil engineer. The mechanical was added, the electrical was added, the electronics was added, the computer something was added. Now you have all sorts of engineering courses. In this aspect, who knows best of what is going to be done in an institution? For example, if we go back to your question, and we take at Nepa, for example. The people who build Nepa from the scratch will initially be civil engineers. Those who equip Nepa from the beginning will be mechanical engineers. Those who generate power for us from that place will be electrical engineers. And for sure, expecting that electrical engineers are expected to head the place is not far-fetched. It's expected. The problem is, why are people in Nigeria clamoring to be the head? If it is for the work that is being done in a place that everybody wants to be the head of a place, it will be beautiful.
True.
But in most cases, it is not. It's because we want to be bosses. We want to be the one that sign the checks. We want to be the one that decide on contracts. We want to be those who decide on who gets what. And that's why I am lost. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, I would not expect a road construction company to be headed by a mechanical engineer. It should be headed by a civil engineer. I would not expect a power generation area to be headed by a non-power generating person, but those who actually generate power. But the reason that people are clamoring is usually for a different reason. That's why I am taken aback. So if I own Nepa, for example, I'll first decide which is the priority of the company. Emphasize generation, emphasize distribution, or emphasize the management structure of the organization. If it is the management structure that we are looking at, of course, the public administrators are the one that can unite all of them that work in Nepa together. You know, the sole essence of public administration is to put together man, material, and resources and come up with a viable way of giving a useful service to people who are supposed to be benefiting from them. This is where the crux of the matter is. Are we looking for that kind of service, or are we looking for something else? In Nepa, we should be thinking of those who know how to generate power at this stage.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I know our audience out there will be asking, is Up Nepa going to talk about health? Are we diving into the health sector right now? But sir, you said something about authority. And while the debate is still going on, you know, some people are also arguing that Nigeria doesn't need an engineer, right, to be, just like you said, to be as a minister of power or to be a minister of power. What they need, or what the sector need, is someone who can navigate the complexity of these policies, who can, you know, handle the things that the sector needs, somebody that's experienced. So, but my question is, now in that sector, do we need somebody that is well qualified? Is qualification really necessary, or having an engineering qualification necessary for someone to be the head when it comes to the power sector?
In my opinion, and the experience I had in serving in government, it is necessary that those who are going to head should know what the organization is all about. For example, I want to cite a bad example. Barrister Adamu, who was Minister of Education during Buhari regime,
Yes.
was throughout his career not popular with education people because he was a lawyer. And he himself was not very active throughout his career because probably he didn't rhyme with the educationists.
Yes.
That's important. And sometimes when you have even the person that rhymes with the that has the qualification, his personality may not be quite appropriate for what those people who are in that field require. I remember one time Professor, was it Anaji, from the United States came here to do something about power sector. And it didn't go well. Two things are important here. The person that wants to head an organization must know what the organization is all about.
True.
Must be also experienced in the local needs of the organization. Sometimes we get it wrong by always thinking that when you bring somebody from Europe or from the United States or from wherever to come and head an organization in Nigeria, we're going to get a better result or get a result similar to what is obtainable in those countries. No, in my opinion, knowing the local politics, the local geography, and the needs of those people is a factor too.
True. Okay.
I think somebody who wants to head Nepa should have an electrical engineering knowledge, even if it's to be trained specially in administration somewhere. In absence of us getting such a person, then a general administrator can substitute, but he's always substituting. In places, let me mention two different ministries again. Look at health and agriculture. Until recently, Ministry of Agriculture was one whole. Now we're broken up into agriculture, fisheries, animal health, animal health. They call it animal health, not husband. Animal health, mechanical something. You know, with all these sub-specializations, there will always be a difficulty in somebody coming to tune with what the objective, the final objective should be. In such a situation, the general administrator can harness all this because of that type of training and bring you together to get everybody to do his own bit. But the final result will be targeting at the outcome that we expect. If you leave that ministry and you come to health again, although you said I've spoken so much about health, the differences between us at the moment, because there are two problems with health and today. There is an intra-professional wrangling. People within the profession are arguing among themselves. For example, should the hospital be headed by cardiologists, or should the hospital be headed by radiologists, or should the hospital be pathologists? And that's intra-professional wrangling. But we also have inter-professional wrangling. Should the pharmacist head, or the nurses head, or the laboratory scientist head, or the doctor's head? This is what happens in ministries where you have varying professions coming together to try to achieve what we want to achieve. In Nepa, maybe my knowledge is very low, but the job is done mostly by electrical engineers. Like I said from the beginning, it's already in the construction stages. The civil engineers construct the place. Mechanical engineers install the machines, but the running of the place is left with the civil engineers and the electrical engineers. So if, for any reason, there are well-trained electrical engineers who have administrative know-how heading those places, it probably serves us better. And then the main staff situation can be handled by a public admin person. Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for the enlightenment you've given us. But then I want to ask, you made an example of the health sector outside of Nigeria where specific people are trained to handle the administrative part. I also want to ask, looking at the electricity sector now, the power sector, on a global scale, in other countries, what's obtainable? Is it engineers who run the power sector, or if it's the same issue we are struggling with?
I want to ask you a question in two different ways.
Okay.
In the first instance,
yes,
most of these similar organizations, at least I know North America,
okay,
are not owned by government.
Okay.
And they're not governed exactly by civil service regulation.
Oh.
For example, when I was a student, I was doing part-time job, usually in the night, from like 2 o'clock to 4:30 in the morning. And my job was just distributing papers, newspapers. That time it was Philadelphia Inquirer that I was selling.
Yes, I would like to ask, this is not in Nigeria.
It is not in Nigeria.
Okay.
This is in US.
I had to clarify
this
that.
is in US. Philadelphia Inquirer is in US.
Okay.
They're not looking for somebody who is qualified, necessary to do the job,
Okay.
but somebody who does the job so well
Yeah.
that the company makes money through the person.
Okay.
You probably see in the film sometimes
Yeah.
somebody works in the hotel and all of a sudden somebody from domestic service, that's cleaners and catering service, or somebody from maintenance has all of a sudden become the manager.
True.
The focus there is money.
Okay.
You render service.
Okay.
Because in Western society, they believe that the only way you get money is to render a service that people are willing to pay for. So if you are the key person that is bringing more money to the organization, you are the likely person to be in charge of those things.
Of that aspect.
Even this health that we said now.
Yeah.
Kennedy Jr. is now the Minister for Health and Social Welfare in the United States, and he's not a doctor.
He's not a doctor.
In the United States, they split that one into two. Health services, the services, and the medical services.
Okay.
And they have a doctor who heads the clinical services.
Oh.
But in politics, he comes under the minister. So the organizations are different. But because most of these things are not owned by government in those places, what obtains are slightly different. You are not looking up to what Tinubu will feel if power fails. No, there you are looking at what your consumers will feel if power fails, and they're the ones to hold you to account. Number two, you are accountable to the shareholders in your organization. Are they making money through you or not? And that's why, surprisingly, somebody will be appointed today and tomorrow morning is fired. Because the essence is getting the job done to the satisfaction of your consumers and satisfaction of your investors. Not government, necessarily.
Yeah.
What government does is create policies that will be sure that, yes, that as you are delivering your service, the government is getting a good image through you. Okay. So,
all right. So back to Nigeria now.
Yeah.
Looking at what you said previously, do you think it's right for? Wouldn't it be as though we are putting a, how does this saying? Is it putting a square peg in a round hole? Yes. Wouldn't that be the situation we are finding ourselves in?
Well, let's say it might be, but let's also look at it realistically. Where are we in development? Where are we in our evolution as a state and as professional organizations? Where are we? You know, like I mentioned earlier, I would like to see engineers, electrical engineers, head things like power sector. You know, but are we quite there? Do we know that when you head that place, it's not for being the authority or the person that signs the check or the person that hires people or the person that fires people, but it's for the service that you are going to get. Sometimes you go to an organization and the person who is in charge, I mean Nigeria, is only interested in certain private benefits that he gets from it. If we want to put people who actually know what can be done, honestly, we need those who have studied the area very well, to the people who are going to. For example, taking a public administrator, for example, if an electrical engineer in the field comes around and say they need a power stripper, for example, and says it costs 20 million, and this administrator has no idea himself roughly what it costs. it makes management difficult for him, especially if he's not likely to have those under him that are going to guide him very well. He will not know. You know, as a country, if tomorrow we want to buy a warship, and there are no genuine naval officers who are willing to tell the head of state the truth, you probably have no idea what it costs. No idea what it costs. I know very well, although you guys are tired of example from the hospital.
No, sorry, we're not.
when I was in charge of General Hospital in the 90s, we were desperate for an electron microscope for operating the eye, because it was becoming very fashionable. But I had no idea how much an electron microscope cost. I had to go around 3 places. I went to Ibadan, where they had one. I went to National Eye Center, Kaduna, where they had one. And I went to ABU. Just to get an idea of cost. I'm not the one that's going to award. But at that time, they were using tenders very well. And if tenders sit, before they open the tenders, they will ask the professionals what they think about the pricing. And if they asked me that time, I wouldn't know. So I did this quick run around myself. So it's the same thing. If you want to buy something for your exchange in Tegina, and the person who is finally in charge does not know, have an idea at all about what it entails, it is difficult. It's difficult for him. And for us, we'll probably be paying more for less, especially if you have some unscrupulous stuff. So that's why the person to head must have a good idea of what everybody does, however small.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. You're really schooling us. And thanks for sharing your experience. Okay, so, sir, as someone who has managed an agency with, that has diverse professionals, right? What's the importance of technical knowledge, leadership, and managerial skill? How is it important in a complex setup like that?
I want to start from leadership, because to me that's very important. As you climb the ladder in any organization, and you're getting close to the top, your original knowledge of your profession from the university becomes less and less and less immaterial. It is the knowledge of working with people, managing people, that is now important. And in leadership, you may not be able to know all these things by yourself, but it is that ability to now extract what is useful in A and combine it with what is useful in C to reproduce the B that you like. By the time you are now asking the top executive in your place, in Nepa, for example, what voltage passes through Tegina to something, he probably does not know. He probably doesn't know. But you ask the small engineer that do that every day. They even know the amount of leakage that takes place when you send power from Abeokuta to Mina, or from wherever to wherever. But as you go up, leadership and management is what you concentrate on. It is what is required of you. So at that top, that knowledge is far more important than how to do it, because you probably have forgotten.
Sure.
But if you have no idea of how to do it from the beginning, then you didn't forget anything. You just didn't know. But it's a good idea to be reminded of what you have forgotten in a management meeting or something. It improves the kind of outcome that you get. So I think the technical knowledge is very important. But as you go up, you must realize that you are no longer the linesman who is going to check whether the jumper on the line has broken or not. You are not the one who is going to check whether the transformer has tripped. And when somebody tells you that animals are running to your station, you are not the one who will decide whether they get electrocuted or not.
Oh, no.
No. But if they tell you that they get electrocuted, it should remind you quickly that, when I was in this category, this is what is to happen.
So with let's assume today that Nigeria decides that for the Minister of Power, it should be an electrical engineer, and like that. Is it possible that a professional, let's assume that the engineer now, the electrical engineer, becomes the power minister? Is it possible that in such a situation, the person can actually be a professional, but then be a poor administrator? Because we are saying that the engineers should be the ones in charge of power and all of that. But can we have a situation where the person is a professional, he knows what he is, he knows everything electrical, but when it comes to administration, he would be a poor administrator?
Well, let's look at it again in two different ways.
Okay.
Ideally, in civil service, as you rise up the ladder, you're supposed to be gathering this small administrative know-how into your job. So before you even reach the level where you are going to be appointed a minister or even a director in one of the aspects of power generation, you would have gathered a lot of knowledge in administration. Fortunately, unfortunately, like I said before, Nigeria is fond of bringing people from maybe Scandinavia, where the temperature is always below 30 degrees, to Nigeria, where the temperature is always above 50 degrees, and expect it to function well.
Yeah.
I think we need to start thinking of how to rely on our own internally generated human beings. At the moment, 3 or 4 ministers are from outside the shores of this country. They know these things very well, but in the countries that
they have.
Yes, we should start using internal labor, because what is administratively tenable in Nigeria may not be the same in Canada. If we take people within ourselves and try them, we'll be able to see what defects that require, what holes require plugging up. Is it their technical knowledge that is weak, or their administrative knowledge that is weak? But if every time we're bringing somebody from outside, we're going to be in the same problem we have been for a long time.
Okay, so talking about Nigeria going out, bringing people outside. So would you say that Nigeria pay more attention to paper and professional title instead of measurable performance?
No, I don't.
In this situation now, Nigeria pays attention to being a non-Nigerian.
No, I don't even need to answer that question for you. In Nigeria we're paper oriented.
That's so true.
We are paper oriented. In fact, from screening, you are screened out because you didn't have PhD in that field. And when we are children, those qualifications are supposed to be for those who want to lecture. It is not only because they are PhDs, but because they are trained on how to do research. And university lecturer is required to be researching all the time. But now, you apply for a job that anybody can do, or most people can do. But when they are doing preliminary internal screening, they set a qualification, and if you don't reach there, you're removed, even if you have the experience. In Nigeria today, for example, we have not been able to ascertain the difference between paper qualification and experience. It's only when they want to use it against somebody that say he doesn't have the qualification, or he doesn't have this qualification, or he doesn't have that qualification. We should set a guideline and follow it. We don't. In my opinion, we don't. And that's where the difficulty comes. But otherwise, if electrical engineers go through the training that everybody gets in administration as they are climbing up, by the time they reach a point where they're going to be appointed a minister, it should be a different thing. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, I think being a politician is all it takes to be anything else that you want to be, except head of justice. That is written in the law. That one is written in the law. They are the one that wrote the law for us now. So they define their own, that you must be a lawyer. And they made it such that the entire setup is headed by lawyers. So they speak the same language. In our own, we don't. I happen to be a laboratory scientist before I went to medical school. But otherwise, I wouldn't even know. As a doctor, you wouldn't even know how to work in a blood bank. Because you would have forgotten that from the classroom for all these years. Because I was a laboratory man before, I still do that very well. But it's not the same everywhere else. Besides health and education, where almost everybody speaks the same language, most of the other ministries have such a mixture that it's a problem. Where trade and commerce is another fairly uniform ministry.
Sector.
Yes. Okay. But if you look at agriculture, we're fragmenting that so much that they don't even look alike anymore.
Okay, so but on the global standard now, since you talk about the law and the global standard, we say engineer or administrator?
They mean engineer.
Engineer.
Yes, but you should have a good administrative knowledge.
Okay. Wow, I think it's been very enlightening. We've learned a lot. Somebody who has lived through so many administrations in the power sector, from the ECN to, I think, Nepa to PHCN.
No, from ECN to NDA.
To NDA, yes, before Nepa, and then PHCN, and then right now AEDC. Would you say we have advanced as a nation in the power sector, and why would you? If it's yes, why? And if it's no, why?
No, we have not.
Wow. Okay.
When we were under ECN, for example, I was in secondary school. And at that time, first of all, it's not every small village that has power supply. But those who have do not experience power failure.
Okay.
No. Okay. I was in Borough College for 7 years, because in those days you go to secondary school for 5 years, then you go to higher secondary school for 2 years, then you go to the university. For 7 years in Borough College. I don't remember when we did not have power. I don't.
Wow.
And I was in Zaire for a total of 14 years. And until the time I got to the university in 69, 70 session, I don't remember when you went to town and there was no light.
My God.
I don't. But it's different from now. Because now we're trying to electrify even villages where there are no goats, let alone human beings, for political reasons. At that time, they were doing only places that need it.
Okay.
In the 50s, I was in primary school in Bida. Bida was being electrified. The first thing they did was the town. Then they connected the higher institution, the secondary school in those days. There was a secondary school, there was teachers' college, there was technical college, there was clerical school. Then they connected those ones before they came to us who were primary school.
Oh.
You know, if it's now, probably you get one nursery school connected even before you. And those nursery schools close at 12, they don't even need light at night. But they'll get connected before you. So I know in Bida, for example, the MS Plus was connected even before the central administration. Because they don't work at night in central administration. So necessary things were the ones that are done. Now it's not necessary things that are, no, it's the one that has a political benefit that is being done. And that's why we're running into trouble. Can you imagine if all the useless cables that are on Nigerian roads are harnessed together? Can't we electrify Ghana?
Of course.
All the cables that are sitting outside there are doing nothing. So that's the only thing that make me know that if we don't change the way we do things, we'll probably be getting worse. Probably be getting worse. But definitely you can compare ECN days to today.
So with what you have said, is like Nigeria has suffered a decline.
A decline? Well, I'm sure of that.
No.
I'm sure of that.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We have come to the end of our questions. We want to say thank you for giving us this opportunity to
accommodating us.
Yeah, we appreciate. And to the audience, so watch out for this episode. And of course, you're going to be enlightened with Dr. Maji Chado. So stay tuned. This is the Up Nepa, and have a lovely weekend.